Hello everyone, welcome to yet another video of mine. This is gonna be a very different video from my regular roast videos, okay? So you need to get your mind clear about what are the things that I'm gonna talk about in this entire video. This is about the Kashmir Files. Yes, it's gonna be serious, something which I'm gonna talk about. Not a joke, no roast. Basically, I saw Kashmir Files a couple of days back, then I started my own research so that I can identify the authenticity about the incident and which were portrayed in a form of storyline in the entire movie. So in my WhatsApp status, I saw many who were actually saying that this video is like something which shouldn't be watched, the film is propaganda and all. So for them, it's something that you shouldn't believe in. If you wish to do that, you're free to do, because we have our freedom of expression. Disclaimer: if you are an extremist and cannot listen to the factual truth, then grab your ass off and leave this video here itself. But if you have that courage to face the truth, then stay. This video is gonna be very long, so you all must need to understand that if you belong to that category of people who are mostly busy in scrolling Insta reels and YouTube shorts, okay, please watch the entire video in phases. I will be giving timestamp below. Thank you. The entire video is divided into 3 parts. First, why the Kashmir Files? Second, stories that still remain untold and which are true. Okay, and the third part is the ground reality in present time. That's all. Now coming to the first part, that is why Kashmir Files. Answer to that question is very simple: to bring out the truth in a very censored way. This film was needed to make the youth realize what they lost, the things untold about our history. So my one request to everyone who is watching this video: before calling this film a masterpiece or a propaganda, just go and watch it. Next step, start your research. Read all the RTIs that are published, the video footages, the images, the newspaper articles, everything, and then make a clear mindset of what you should believe in. Next, accept the history and be prepared. If something happens to you in future, then how will you deal with it and what should be done? Or else, if nothing could be done, how can you manipulate your own brain and manifest it so that you can cope up with the situation? But being prepared doesn't mean you go and buy AK-47 or AK-203 illegally from Pakistan. Watching this film and believing it, make sure that the word Exodus now completely changes to the word which is more heavier than genocide. Even the JKLF head or the supreme commander of them, they openly accepted that yes, they have done it. So mass killing is always a genocide, and giving it a false name of Exodus would be doing injustice to those who faced the circumstances in reality. Well, the film showed us that change in demography of a region can have a devastating effect. This film was definitely needed to expose the Indian politics. Obviously by politics, I mean the past time as well as the present government. Everyone is exposed. I'll come to that later. Also, clearly the film portrayed that the birth of a terrorist, it is always induced by a religious mindset and a particular religion. Now, having been said that and made such a big claim, let me come to the second part of the video, that is stories that still remain untold, and those are truth. This film basically showed everything that everyone was eager to see, but yet they missed few things, like few truly educated believers of that religion were also killed because they openly supported the rally or supported the ideology against terrorism. Remember the name Muhammad Farooq Shah? Hopefully you don't, right? It is not shown in the picture as far as I remember. Basically, he was the Mirwais of Jammu Kashmir as well as the chairman of all Jammu Kashmir Awami Action Committee. Now what this means, I don't know. Okay, so what actually he did, let me come to that. He tried to convince his followers, because he was a kind of a higher ranker of Maulavi who had very many followers. He openly tried to convince his own followers not to allow or not to show brutality towards the Kashmiri Pandits. The outcome of it was quite obvious, that he was killed by the terrorists of JKLF. Likewise, this incident cannot justify their claims that more of a Muslim community people were killed than the Kashmiri Pandits, because it's basically something hilarious they quote and they claim. In this movie, very few incidents and claims were shown about the brutality caused against young women and the children. The heart-crushing scene of Sarda Pandit getting split into 2 halves by an electric chainsaw was very brutal. The real life character from which this character in the movie was inspired was Girja Tikku. Now she was kidnapped from a place, then she was raped in an open place by those JKLF terrorists, and then this incident of splitting that body which is alive, which had to go through such tremendous pain and torture by electric chainsaw, and they split that body into. That scene cannot be shown. Just by tearing off the clothes, it was just portrayed that what could have been done there because it was totally brutal. If it was ever showed in the screen, the Censor Board of India would never allow it. Along with that, all other cases of rapes which were inhuman and all other brutal atrocities that was done, which was witnessed by the Kashmiri Pandits but could never be recorded officially, were missing. One person saying something and claiming it to be truth might be a false statement, but 1,000 of people claiming the same thing and the same narration can never be a false one. So it's up to you that you want to believe this or you want to just pretend you are a so-called secular. With that, we are in the third and the final part of our video, that is the ground reality in present time. So on 6th of August 2019, the Article 370, the devastating article, was revoked by the then and the present government of NDA. Roughly 2 years, right? Yeah, you can say that development in Kashmir has started. I agree that everyone will do that because articles have been published in favor of that. We all know that. But one question is that, did that camp where the Kashmiri Pandits thought that it would be a week or two, is that empty by till date? The answer is no. There are people who are staying in that camp. And did you ever hear a single human rights commission or the commissioner or a human rights worker to ever raise their voice and sound about this? No, I haven't heard of this. No one talks about the human rights at that camp, but everyone is worried about the human rights of a criminal who is being a murderer and who is the so-called terrorist. And we all need to care about the human rights of a terrorist, but not about the citizens of India. Wow, that's the truth about the ground reality. Now, Kashmiri Pandits, those who survived, they survived all by their own. Not a single government helped them to survive. They supported them after they have survived the attack. The past government was they wore a black apron and a black colored mask with another bunch of helmet in reverse way so that they cannot see anything. And they pretended that they are neutral, they are liberals, they are seculars. Now, to the death of these Kashmiri Pandits and the Muslim families who were in support of them, you all sympathize with that, right? Very good. Did any of the media houses or any of the politicians said that within this time frame and all this conflict, 26,000 Indian army soldiers, officials, and sometimes the Air Force members who are residing or those who are staying in Kashmir got killed? No one. Their families, 26,000 families, also suffered. And leave all that, if you look at the killings in that valley, in the Kashmir valley, you will get 7,000 to 8,000 Indian soldiers on record. Maybe off record, many were dead. Many couldn't be found. Many dead bodies were just simply aloofed by the JKLF terrorists. 2 years and 15%, only 15% of the construction has been completed, where the camp residers were to be shifted or to be returned them. Why? Why can't the army just go and find out the properties that were illegally captured, shoot them or give them warning to remove or evacuate the property and give it to the one? Simply. That would be a better solution. But no, they will give them a property, a bunch of people, they will stay together and support each other. So that infrastructure they need to build. And that is taking them like 2 years. Wow. Okay, so let's for a second think that one day all the camp dwellers, all the camp Kashmiri Pandit get back to their houses. Okay, very fine. But what happened to those families who never wished to leave Kashmir but were forced to get settled all across the globe? Recently, the PM, our PM, had to do a meeting with the so-called Kashmir's politicians. Those were potential terrorists, or they have one way or the other provoked or insisted in the conflict that has been taken place in the past. Like, why can't they just accept that they were terrorists, they are funding the terrorist gangs, so just get them, shoot them and throw them in jail? Be extreme here, because terrorism has got no religion, but when you know terrorists, they are the terrorists, kill them. Only one solution to clear terrorism is just give them bullets, but not by hand. shoot it through an AK-47. Since 1990, it has been 30 years. The JKLF now has formed another thing. They just changed themselves into something called All Parties Hurriyat Conference. Seriously? Just the framework and the name has changed. Nothing else, not the mentality and not at all the agenda. They still want to free Kashmir, but they have just dropped their weapons. Or rather, they are keeping their weapons behind. And everyone can see that, yet just because they have come through politics, no one can tell that they are terrorists. Why? We need to question this at present, because we are the youth. If we don't question, no one will. The funniest part is like the Indian government has wasted. Like they are giving 484 crores for their security, 21 crore for their luxurious hotel expenses, and 26 crores for their transportations. Seriously, that much money was not invested in infrastructure building and the roads of India, but you as a government gave it to a terrorist organization. Why? To fund them, literally. And believe me one thing, tell me one thing seriously, like a person or a community or a group of people who is holding AK-47s behind, what kind of security do they need? Actually, we need security from them. Understand that. Just because someone is coming in a white coat doesn't make them white. If you check their hands, it has got blood stain. Seriously, we live in a country where the constitution is made in such a way that if a terrorist come and says that I am a politician and his total terrorist gang supports him, we have to respect them. Why? Isn't it that spotting a terrorist and killing him is the best solution? So that's it about my video, guys. If you at all you agree with any of my points, do comment down genuinely. Yeah, this video is not for views or anything else. I just want to spread the information. That's all. And if you all at all like this video, hit up and subscribe to my channel. If any important issues like this comes around, I will be the one making videos and making you aware. Signing off.